Hello and welcome to Untold Lives of Women with me, your host, the Nairobi Feminist. I know it's been a while, but we are finally back again and we have a new guest who has a very interesting story to share. So without any further ado, I'll have her introduce herself and the organization that she works for.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Atieno Onyango. I'm from Mombasa, Kenya, and I work for Coast Sex Workers Alliance as the Health Promotion Officer, and I am also a young sex worker from Mombasa.
And what exactly does coswa do?
Okay, so coswa, let me just start by introducing coswa. So coswa, in full, Coast Sex Workers Alliance, with a legally registered name as Coast Smart Women Against HIV and AIDS. So coswa is a grassroots female sex workers organization from Mombasa. Our headquarters is in Mombasa County, but we actually cover the entire 6 counties of coastal region, that is Kilifi, Kwale, Lamu, Tana River, Taita Taveta, and Kwale counties, yeah. So basically, COSWA's vision is to ensure a just, resilient, and socially inclusive society for sex workers. So we do feminist movement building. We ensure that we empower sex workers or enhance sex workers' capacity to advocate for their human and health rights. We also do feminist movement building because we want a feminist movement that is inclusive of all. We do not want to have spaces where sex workers are excluded. So we are passionate about starting something at the grassroots that is owned by female sex workers for the female sex workers. And we also do socio-economic empowerment for female sex workers. And we do small entrepreneurship trainings like soap making, tailoring, and we also have safe spaces for sex workers victims of violence. And we also do advocacy on the need to decriminalize sex work in Kenya, because Kenya is amongst the countries that criminalize sex work, and criminalization of sex work doesn't stop sex work, but rather it exposes sex workers to so many kind of violence like rape, arbitrary arrests, we can rape, arbitrary arrest, and sometimes even denial into economic opportunities, just simply because we are sex workers, and also the fact that we are also women. Gender is another factor that hinders women from accessing different spaces. So we are actually looking into also fighting gender inequalities. There's a lot that we do, and recently with our new strategic plan, we have actually incorporated a program on sex workers who use drugs, because that is another silent crisis and we want to address it, and Mombasa being among the counties that have a high prevalence of drug use, so this program is very, very important.
Okay, so I think one of the questions that I received that most people wanted to know when I said I was going to have this interview was, first of all, are there actual sex workers who go to the job because they actually love what they do, or is it just because they need to get by and they found this as the only way that they can manage to make money?
Okay, so sex work is just work like any other job. So for example, even a doctor will just go to the hospital because they just want to get paid. But there are actually doctors who go to the hospital because it is a passion and they love doing that. So for sex workers, we also do that. Some of us do it for money. Some of us do it because, circumstances maybe forced you to do sex work. But actually, most of us, I'll say 90% of us, we do sex work because we wake up in the morning and choose to do sex work as our work.
And what are some of the challenges that you have encountered? Because I know one thing about people is we're always quick to judge, to be honest. And we never know, one thing about life, you never know where you're going to be at a specific time. But the fact that there is a need for sex workers, it means that there are actually people out there who are actually looking for sex workers, and trying to make a sex worker feel bad because of of what they do and how they choose to make their money really isn't something that should be fair. So what has been your main challenges, or what has been your experience, and how old were you when you began?
Okay, so when I began sex work when I was 18, just after high school, because I did quite well in high school, and I needed money to proceed with my studies. So
Okay.
the only way I knew how to do, or the only way that I was comfortable to get that money, was through sex work. And so I got into sex work at 18 with the main intention was to pay school fees. Yes, but later on, that has become my main source of income, even though now I work for Sex Workers Alliance, but I still do sex work as my main source of income. And some of the challenges that we face as sex workers, I'd say the major challenge that we face, number one, I'll say it's stigma both from the community, like from outside, and also stigma within. We tend to stigmatize ourselves a lot, maybe because of the kind of violence that we go through while at work. Sometimes you can meet a violent client. Sometimes maybe you experience rape while at work, and then slowly, people experiences just start punching holes into your self-esteem, and then you start self-stigmatizing yourself. And then another, the stigma from outside is, I'll say, from the community. Once the aspect of your work is known, and then people now start judging you based on what you do. And like I said before, denied economic empowerment opportunities. You are very qualified, you have your papers, but once you get a job, or when you go to seek for any kind of employment, people will just be she's just looking into sleeping with the boss. Or maybe you're doing great at work, and people are saying, yeah, she's actually getting favors because she's sleeping with the boss. So stigma cuts across in a very wide range, not only at the community, but also when you go to get health services. For example, if you go for an STI treatment, I personally went there, and the nurse was like, go and bring your partner. So where will I get this partner? It was just someone you meet randomly, and you guys indulge in sex work, and then now you have an STI. The first thing that a healthcare provider is supposed to do is actually treat you. But healthcare providers, and I'm not the only case, there are a lot of people, a lot of us who go to seek services, and then you're told, go and bring your partner. And because you cannot find this partner, you choose to treat your STIs at home. Hence, you continue experiencing recurring STIs. And another challenge can be for sex workers who are in remote areas, maybe they are not reached by programs of such organizations like COSWA, so they do not know that it is actually their right to go and seek for these services. I recently had a story where a young sex worker was raped, and so they went for PEP, and they were denied that service simply because the nurses were this you cannot get. And because she was young, they actually needed someone, maybe a parent or a guardian, to go with her. And for her, she was doing sex work just to get money for basic things like food, sanitary towels, and she cannot disclose this to her guardian, so she ended up without PEP. And PEP is actually a human right, it's a necessity. Every woman should have access to it at any time. Thank you.
Definitely, and that's really heartbreaking, because you can imagine, first of all, we'll blame sex workers for the work they do. When they try and get better jobs, we still we still make the job hard for them by talking about what they've done in their past, and then to make it worse, they can't even access, healthcare systems that are meant for everyone, because a lot of the cases, the people who we go to for help, they aren't always, understanding. They feel like because this is a job, this is your job description, this is what you should expect, and you should be okay with that. And I feel like that is very wrong, because at the end of the day, there's so many cases of young girls who
I've lost you.
There's so many cases where young girls, it's been even on the news. Young girls are turning to sex work to buy sanitary towels, to buy food for their family, to provide for their siblings who have been, left homeless by, a death of a parent. It's such like that, And I feel like it's really important for such organizations as yours to exist, to show and to educate young girls out there who have chosen this path, or this path has been chosen for them, that, you're still human, and, you're still going through life, and you do deserve to still get what is rightfully yours, regardless of what society thinks. What has been, like you had mentioned that, you start to go through different bad experiences, and just like any other human, when we go through so much in our lives, it sometimes causes depression, sometimes it just makes you, lose out on your self-esteem. So are there programs that help sex workers have a place where they can talk? Are there places where they can have conversations and, share their experiences and seek help?
Yes, there are programs for mental health wellness, and we have that under our health strategic objective. So we also provide psychosocial support for female sex workers and legal aids clinic for female sex workers who are victims of violence. So with legal aids, we just link sex workers victim of violence with pro bono lawyers, and then they are offered legal advice on how to go with these cases. And we also have an advocacy officer who actually follows up on these cases and ensure that at least 30% or 50% of these cases are addressed to the end. I'm saying 30 or 50 because, even for us sex workers, it is also hard to follow up on a violence case with, you just know our police wetu wa Kenya. So you'll just, the police will be offered bribe by the client, and then they can choose to completely ignore your case. And now, because we are sex workers and sex work is criminalized, where else can you go and report this? But we are actually doing a lot, and that's why I've said we will be joining, we will be collaborating with other sex work and KP-led organizations in Kenya to actually start the advocacy for decriminalization of sex work, because that is the main barrier that impedes our access to justice, our access to healthcare. So for example, if you are violated, you go and report. Maybe I'm violated more than once. I keep going and report, and nothing is being done about it. It also takes a toll on my mental health. And for coswa, in our office, we have a space where just sex workers can just come and chill, relax, and we're actually looking into bringing in a television set, so people can just come and watch. But there are program in place to ensure that our mental health is in check. We have a psychosocial support counselor who is available whenever there's a need.
That's really lovely, because it's good to see that there are organizations that are actually making progress and actually taking their time to ensure that sex workers get the help they need and then get the support they need, because just like everyone else, we're all going through life, and there's no point of us being just judging other people based on what their path, the life path has taken them down on, and if there's something that you would like to share, what would you like to tell people out there who look at sex workers as not human or not deserving of their human rights?
I'll say those are the people, if people who actually judge sex workers, we are trying to bring change, and those people are the ones who continue to bring us down. Activism is not an easy job, and when you are not getting support, it becomes super super heavy. And for people who are always judging or seeing sex workers as vectors of diseases, or seeing sex workers, there are actually people who said that sex work and same-sex relationships are the reason why we were faced by COVID as a pandemic. That is so absurd. It's actually scientifically proven that COVID is just a virus, like many other viruses that we've been fighting. How do you even blame it on sex work? And it is not easy with those people. I say to some extent, when you are a child, a child is just like a sponge, they absorb whatever you feed them. So these people grew up knowing that sex work is bad. But actually, I'm here to say that sex work is work like any other work. Sex work pays bills. Sex work keeps our children in school. Sex work puts food on our tables. And just like you wouldn't want someone judging you on your job, we do not want people to judge us on our job. We actually do not want protection. We just want rights, equal rights like any other citizen of this country. We want to enjoy the freedom to work like any other person in whatever job that they are doing. So I think judging sex workers doesn't actually stop sex work. It actually continues to expose us to so many other kind of violence. And also, if you decide to judge sex workers, also judge the clients, because we are not selling sex to ourselves.
Exactly. People want to act like it's your fault that there is such a thing as sex work, but we're not looking at the people who actually go and look for sex workers, and people who go and commit heinous crimes against sex workers because they feel like they can get away with it. So this being Untold Lives of Women, and I thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate that you could even take the time to reach out, because so many people are still struggling with their truth and struggling in their own lives, that they wouldn't be open to sharing what their experiences have been. So I'd like to thank you for that. And in your own life and your own experience, has there been one specific woman in your life who has always been there and shown you support, that has shown you that when women come together, great things can be achieved, and that women are still good out there?
Yes. I speak of the director of COSWA, Benta. Her name is Benta Joseph. So she really inspires me, because the formation of COSWA, number one, it was based on tragedy. She actually founded COSWA at a time where female sex workers in Mombasa were undergoing a lot of human rights violations. There were a lot of killings of sex workers, and it was just open and no one was doing anything about it. But the fact that she actually led a group of 5 other women to come up with, it was first just a support group for sex workers, but the fact that she rose above that and ensured that it is registered and female sex workers at the coastal region have a place to call home, I think that is one person who has actually held my hand, because when I first saw COSWA on TV, I was like, oh yeah, so I'm not alone out here. I have a home. Thank you.
That's lovely. It's important for us to show support to each other, regardless of, when we see something going on that's wrong. It's good that we should be able to stand up for each other and say that this is wrong and this shouldn't be allowed to happen. And definitely, are there other organizations that are apart from COSWA? Are there some in other towns that other people can maybe turn to if there's someone who's listening to this and is looking for an organization they can join, and they're not specifically in the coast region?
Okay, so we have the national movement. It's called the Kenya Sex Workers Alliance, or COSWA. So like whoever is listening to this, they can go to Keswa's Facebook page, just write Keswa Kenya, Twitter Keswa, and Instagram as well, Keswa Kenya. We have Kiambu Sex Workers Alliance in Kiambu, or famously known as Kiaswa. We have Kiswa, Kisumu Sex Workers Alliance. And then now we have the Coast Sex Workers Alliance. We also have BESP. BESP is selling BESP region gani? We have BESP. I'm not sure BESP is in which region, but BHESP is also a sex workers led organization. And we also have Kiliswa. Kiliswa is in Kilifi County. It's actually a member group of COSWA, but they are from Kilifi County.
Yes, so thank you so much. At least now people are aware that there are organizations that are actually helping sex workers out there. And at least
it's not only these organizations are not only like for female sex workers. We also have organizations like Hoimas and Hapa Kenya. They also tend to help needs of male sex workers. So any male sex worker who is listening, they also have a home at Hoimas and a home at Hapa Kenya.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate what you're doing and what your organization are doing, and just being there for other sex workers out there, because it is something that is needed especially at times like this when people are really being cruel. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we end the live?
Yeah, I think if there is any sex worker who needs support right now and is listening to this, maybe if they are from Mombasa or even if they are anywhere in the country, they can I share our organization's number here?
Yes, you can.
Yes, they can reach us at 0793 712 111. And whenever they are, we'll be able to link them with any sex workers-led organization in that particular region.
Thank you so much. And I will definitely be sharing all those contact information links at the bottom of this post once I publish it. I'd like to thank you so much for taking your time, and just grateful that your organization and various organizations exist that help sex workers. I think that's all we have time for today, unless there's anything else you'd like to share.
No, thank you. It has been awesome to chat with you. I know we've been planning for a long time, but finally today. And I am available for any topic that you want to discuss about female sex workers. I'm also heading a program for young sex workers. So if you'd like anything to talk about around that, I am here.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for taking the time to come on. Yes, we have planned this for quite a while, but at least it's finally happened. Well, that's all we have time for today, so don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified whenever we have a new episode coming up. I love you for listening. Goodbye for now. The Nairobi Feminist.